So let's face it, the Pixel 3 XL is probably the most controversial phone of 2018. It almost seems like tradition for a Pixel phone to release with a number of questionable moves by Google. But interestingly enough, despite those questionable moves, Pixel phones have somehow found their way into my list of favorite phones each year, this year being no different. Having said that, it may seem strange to you, but the Pixel 3 XL is a phone I think more people should look into picking up. So the 3 and 3 XL got a material refresh from last year's phones. This time around, we're looking at a two-tone all-glass build, which allows for wireless charging, huge thumbs up for that. But the bottom portion has this frosted matte finish, which feels awesome. It's super smooth and I love it, but as I'm sure you've seen, the back can get scratched and scuffed quite easily. And since I'm the worst at keeping my phones scratch-free, I turn to skins, of course. Shout out to dbrand, link in the description. Something else I wanted to point out is this phone's vibration motor. It's very solid, probably the best on any Android smartphone. The great haptics paired with the rest of the hardware make for a very pleasant and premium feel in the hand. To add on to that, the stereo front-firing speakers are still here. They get really loud, the bass got a decent boost, they sound fuller. Overall a good upgrade. However, on my unit, I'm getting this odd buzzing slash hissing when playing music, videos, and I especially hear it when I play notification sounds. I would love to think that this is something that can be fixed with a software update because it's pretty disappointing, especially for someone that relies on speakers a lot. But we'll just have to wait and see. I know some other users are experiencing this as well. As for the display, Google turned to Samsung for this year's panel, and that was definitely the right move, especially after what we got with last year's Pixel. The screen is sharp, it's clean, it's colorful, it's very color accurate as well, which is important. It unfortunately doesn't get as bright as I would like it to at around 424 nits, but overall it's a great display and it's a huge step up from the Pixel 2 XL. It's not the best, but it's definitely up there with the best. So the hardware definitely got more attention from Google this year, and I'm happy about that. But it's obvious their main focus is still software. The Pixel has separated itself from the rest of the Android world by providing the cleanest, most up-to-date, most Googlified user experience you could ask for. You've got the material design refresh, which I love, the plethora of new wallpapers, which I also love. I think these look great, especially the live ones. I actually haven't installed a wallpaper app yet. There's digital well-being, which helps you keep track of and better manage your phone usage. There's a new call screening feature, which, if selected, uses Google Assistant to answer your call, and it'll basically ask whoever's calling to state their name and why they're calling you. And you'll get a live transcription of whatever they're saying. It's pretty cool. You've got all the different ways you can activate Google Assistant. There's always on display, the now playing feature, just a bunch of neat things sprinkled throughout the OS. Performance on the 3 XL is good. In my experience, there's been pretty much zero hint of lag. Things are quick and fluid. The fingerprint reader is fast and accurate. Battery life has been solid as well. I'm getting around 5 to 5.5 hours of screen on time on average, sometimes stretching it out to 6 in my use, so definitely not bad at all. Now, as you may know, the 3 XL has just 4 gigabytes of RAM, and there's a lot of buzz surrounding the phone's inability to keep 3 to 4 apps in memory, and sometimes even straight up killing apps in the background, like Spotify or YouTube, for example, while they're playing while using other applications. Now, from what this looks like, it appears to be a fixable issue and not necessarily because there's only 4 gigs of RAM. So that's good. I still think Google would have been smart to equip this phone with at least 6 gigabytes of RAM though. And then of course you've got the cameras. The Pixel has built a reputation for having the best smartphone cameras, and that continues with the Pixel 3. It goes without saying that you'll be getting some amazing results here, especially with the improved color accuracy. You've probably heard me say this before, and I have no problem saying it again because it still holds true, but I am more likely to take a picture with the Pixel than I am with any other phone when it's my daily driver. And that's not to take anything away from other smartphone cameras, but it's just so easy to get a great looking shot. Dynamic range, the colors, the detail, it's all amazing as expected. Portrait mode has improved, which is great. Edge detection has gotten better. There's Google Lens for product, text, and location recognition. There's now motion autofocus, which lets you lock onto whatever you choose in frame, which is great for moving objects and things like that. It actually works quite well. There's Top Shot, which basically selects what it thinks to be the best shot out of a burst, aiming to avoid blinks, sneezes, and other things that can ruin a shot. And you've probably seen a commercial about this already. What does need to get better is the Super Res Zoom feature, which I guess you could say is another form of Google's strong belief in AI and not needing any additional lenses on the back. This is basically an enhanced digital zoom, and it aims to provide higher res and better looking results by capturing and merging multiple frames. It's not as good as what you can get with a dedicated telephoto lens, but for digital zoom, it's pretty good. Again, it still needs some work. Then there's the feature everyone is gushing over, and that's night sight. This is yet another Google AI machine learning flex, which takes low light photography to a whole new level. Our own Jackson Hayes made a dedicated video on this, including how you can get it on your current Pixel device, link for that video below. Night sight isn't officially out yet, but as you can see, the results are pretty incredible. The Pixel 3's camera is already great in low light, but this here is something special. And remember, this is pre-release software. We'll see how far Google can take this moving forward. As far as video goes, Pixel 3 performs quite well here. It's not the best, there's definitely a good amount of improvement to be made, especially when talking about audio recording. It looks like some of the adjustments Google made affected the audio quality, so right now it sounds pretty bad, but that can be fixed. Stabilization is on point, it's pretty phenomenal, but there's no 4K recording at 60 frames per second, which is a letdown. I think this is something all flagships should have, especially nowadays, but overall I think you'll be pleased with the videos you can get with this phone. So while Google doesn't find the need to place more than one camera on the back, they did find the need to place more than one on the front. The Pixel 3 sports a secondary wide-angle lens for selfies, so now you can capture more in one shot. Very nice. Okay, so I know you've noticed that I've gotten all the way up to this point without mentioning the notch a single time. Unfortunately, it's just something you cannot ignore. It's like you can't even talk about or even think about the 3XL without the notch creeping its way in. In general, the notch is something I've grown accustomed to. A lot of phones have one, right? But this one is a little different. It's bigger, it's a deep cutout of the display, and it's gotten to the point where this notch has become a deciding factor for why some people won't get the phone. In all honesty though, I think the notch hate is pretty overblown. I've gotten used to it in little to no time, and it's become an afterthought for me. Now, I am not defending this design choice by any means. In fact, I think it looks absolutely goofy, especially when it's accompanied by this chin. And I think it would have been at least a little justified had there been some sort of Face ID competitor, but there's not. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion though. I don't mind it while others will flat out hate it, and others just don't care. So if you hate the notch that much, there are a couple ways to hide it, or you can just not get the phone. Simple. I think what's happening here is a lot of people are making the notch the most important thing about this phone when it's really not, and they're letting the notch dictate the overall truth of this phone. And the truth is the Pixel 3 XL is an excellent device in my opinion. It's not perfect, and it absolutely has its bugs and quirks, but the good news is most of, if not all of these bugs can and will be fixed with software updates, which is a huge relief. And other than those things that can be fixed, I don't really have any other large complaints about this phone. So don't get it twisted. While I dislike the notch, and I hope Google does better next time with RAM, battery size, audio recording, and other things, I still find this phone to be a big step for them. It's only their third attempt, and taking their second one into consideration, you can see that the improvements they've made are big. There's no question that this phone has been put underneath a microscope, and we'll definitely keep a close eye on it to see how it fares over time. But as of right now, you're looking at one of the best, if not the best, Android phone you can get right now. So what do you guys think of the Pixel 3 and 3 XL? Let me know your thoughts by dropping them down below in the comments and we'll talk about it. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to the Android Police channel if you are new. That does it for me. I will talk to you guys later and thanks for watching.